Hello and welcome back to Digging in the Dome. That's Kevin. I'm Chris. And today we have another exciting interview, but this time it's not an America's Got Talent finalist that was a pubic hair away from COVID death.
You don't know that.
I have faith that we would have heard that maybe as preparation, so we didn't just walk into, hey, by the way, I'm dying of COVID.
You don't know her life.
That's fair. He's not wrong. So I guess we have our first question always teed up. Besides being a touring stand-up comedian, our guest has been featured on Comedy Central's Roast Battle and Gotham Comedy Live, NBC's Last Comic Standing, as well as Stephen Colbert and James Corden on CBS. She has a special called Voluptuous Boy that we actually promoted around about a year ago. And it's on all streaming music platforms and services you can get. And 11 days ago, she released that special on YouTube. So you got to go check that out. The link will be in our description. She's going to be headlining Soul Joel's Comedy Club on May 14th, right down the street in Royersford, Pennsylvania. Please welcome back the lovely and talented Sarah Tollemache, who I hope is not dying from COVID.
No, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah. Yay. All right. Look at that. You're doing your part. Kevin just got his first shot today.
Yep. One down, one to go. Yep.
Yeah. The first one's not so bad. The second one I got, it's like the flu for 12 hours.
Oh, fun. No. Fun times.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. It just feels like I got a Charlie horse in my, like somebody just punched me in the arm. That's about it.
I hope that it gives you like aggressive amounts of hair all over your body, like your big.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, everywhere though. Like,
I'll take it. Whatever.
Face. That's what I'm looking for.
Listen, you don't know what's going on under here. I promise you, there's a lot of that going on.
I don't want to know. So you got vaccinated. Did Joe get vaccinated too? You guys both vaccinated now?
Yeah, we got vaccinated on the same day. His was early, about 4 hours before mine. So I saw him get sick before I did, and so it was kind of funny. It's like doing drugs where you're like, oh my God.
Somebody starts tripping first.
Yeah. Oh man. You know what? I have a really excellent story about that. We've talked about. So we were roommates. This is where we were still in our band together in Philadelphia. And Kevin was working at a bar, I believe. Right?
Yeah, I was bartending at the time. So I was working later nights. Everybody else had day jobs.
Yeah. So we got home and we decided, I think it was definitely the weekend. We decided that we wanted to do acid. So we did. And then Kevin came home many, many hours later.
It was close to 1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning. And we had like dropped it at like, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it's been we were deep into it. And we convinced him that we had just taken it so that basically he would think, okay, well, we're going to be on this ride the whole way through together. So he took it, and then we informed him he was mistaken.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then they all passed out like an hour later, and I was by myself tripping balls, mad as hell until like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That was real. That was real fun. Yeah. So I get how the ride of the COVID thing, seeing somebody go down first.
And you're like, oh no.
And you're like, oh crap. How bad is this going to get?
You're like, what are you seeing right now?
How bad?
He was having it bad. So I was like, oh really? Shit. Oh, no.
Oh man. So how long did it? Oh, we froze?
Sorry. I think we froze a little bit.
I'm good. Can you see me? Hello? I can still see you. She froze. Are you frozen?
Freezing.
We're freezing? Uh-oh.
We're freezing?
Okay.
And we're freezing?
It says my internet connection is unstable. I'm going to see if
it
makes any difference. I'm going to take my phone off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Drop kick overdrive. Maybe that'll work.
Have you tried yelling at it?
Yes, we preferred violence and anger as our methods of fixing internet lag.
So today is the holiest of high holidays. Are you a partaker of the said herbal?
No, I have an unpopular opinion of pot. I don't mind people that smoke it every now and then, but I hate potheads.
Like just like complete stoners, like messes. Like people that wear ponchos of different colors and just don't wear shoes or sandals or Birkenstocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smell bad.
Involve their whole personalities revolved around it.
Just that.
I think they're just like inside all day long. The blinds are down, watching and like Law and Order. You're like, this is the most depressing people I've ever hung out with in my entire life.
Oh, just a dark, stinky cave of food and pot, like old pot smoke. Oh, yeah. That's not good.
Resin hits like.
Oh God! What year is this?
And like, The 90s.
I meant like when you're a little kid, when you're young.
A little kid? You're doing bomb hits when you were little?
Started young. No.
Yeah.
No, I like when you're like, a younger person, what's up? Hey, no, I can't help right now because I'm recording a podcast. I can't help you right now. Out that way, please. Nope, go that way. Go. I'll fix it in a minute. Goodbye. That's why that door's got to be locked. Son of a bitch.
Children.
Yeah. So, I don't I remember doing that way back in the day.
Well, it's different when you're in college, but if you're in your 30s and that's the life you're laying down.
It's terrible.
That's a rough go, man.
Like, do you people that are that old, old, I don't say old like that, but older like that, are still doing resin hits?
I mean, unless you're super successful because of it. Like if you're like Snoop Dogg,
I guess you can do
Wiz Khalifa. I mean,
their entire life,
smoke all day.
Yeah, whatever. It's different.
Millionaire.
Yeah. Well, now that all the pot smoking contraptions are more high tech, I don't think people are doing scraping for resin anymore.
No. I highly doubt it.
Well, I mean, there's some people that are probably a little bit, destitute. We don't all have it. We're not all living high on the hog, Kevin. Some people have to scrape resin for their high. Unlike
Listen,
you.
I have serious disorders that require my medical marijuana card. I have serious medical issues that require my medical marijuana card.
Right.
So
I understand. Yeah.
My glaucoma is acting up. Shut up.
So you were never into it as a kid or anything like that? That wasn't something for you, or?
No, it was always a thing that all my friends were doing it and they would do it before high school and they made it always seem fun. And then whenever I tried it, I was like, God, my experience is just totally different. Like all I wanted to do was just fall asleep as soon as I took it. I just got so tired and just didn't want to do anything.
Yeah. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. I mean, I there was a stretch where, up until I was taking it for medicinal purposes, like I probably didn't smoke even a puff of weed for 15 years, close to. Okay. But I was deep in the law and order life as you described for a point there.
It was probably
in
more
my 20s,
more like Simpsons, the first several seasons on a loop.
Pretty much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All potheads are kind of the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all kind of in a lane. They like delicious food. They probably don't move around too much, usually couch bound. That's usually their station. Another funny story, and another one that unfortunately involves me hurting Kevin in a way. Kevin and I have known each other since we were very, very little. So we have a brother vibe going on. And so he's gotten me many a times and I've gotten him a couple of times. And this is another one. So we have this tape that had The Simpsons. It had a lot of episodes of The Simpsons on it. And Kevin is particularly afraid of a part of the movie, The Pet Cemetery. You ever see Pet Cemetery? Where the sisters got the weird spina bifida back. It's all poking out and shit. And it's like,
she's in the tub and it's very creepy and I hate it.
Yeah. So what I did was I took my young video editing skills back in the VCR days. I took the Pet Cemetery happened to be on. So I quickly grabbed the middle of the Simpsons tape and placed that scene with that lady in it so that Kevin, when he would get to a middle of a Simpsons episode, would then see the thing that terrifies him the most in this world.
While high as astronaut nuts.
It's chilling.
Yeah. It's not cool.
Yeah, that was mean.
It's not cool.
I didn't get you that time.
So you are very busy. Things getting back to normal up in New York. Are you able to do more as far as shows in the New York area?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of back to where I was before pandemic. And there's still it's weird because now I also have I have a Zoom show tonight. So every now and then I'll turn down an actual gig in the city because the Zoom show pays more.
But is it weird? Is the Zoom show, I got to think one of the things that we talked about the last time you were on was the idea of people just trying to figure out a way to make it work with stand up, to be able to go out somewhere and do something in a drive-in, like an old drive-in and people are honking and it's just we've talked about that before too with other folks. It's an odd situation. So it's getting back to that normal of, what it is, today. are we all the way back? Are you feeling like you're like back into like, are you doing the spots at the stand and your comedy club again? Like they're all open back up? Are they full capacity?
They're not at full capacity, but sometimes so Friday and Saturday, you're going to feel it. But like I did a spot Sunday, 10 o'clock at New York Comedy Club, and it was 6 people, 3 couples all together.
Wow. No kidding.
And you're like, that's kind of about how many people probably would have been there on a Sunday. Anyway.
Right.
So that didn't feel any different. But when you're at the Cellar or whatever on a Friday, Saturday, it's less. And then they have you on some of the shows at Fat Black and then the upstairs at the Olive Tree, you're inside a plastic bubble. So it feels really weird to do stand up that way.
So you can't like, how big is this bubble? Can you like move around in it or?
You can move around, but it's actually pretty limiting. Fortunately, I'm not one of those acts that needs to use a lot of stage
to move around. To
perform. But there are a few things that I did that I was like, oh, this is actually like, I'm going to have to be mindful of my space while I'm in here because it is kind of small.
So it's
like a giant hamster ball. She just like accidentally rolls off the stage.
Oh man, that would be funnier than someone just like falling in it. Like that might be the funniest part of your act. You falling in it, not you, but saying like a comedian. That would be.
No, it would be funny if it happened to you too.
Yes, it would. Sorry, it would be funny. So no, what I was saying, it was like about the Zoom shows, like it seems like that's like a hard way to interact. It's not as bad as when you're in a drive-through or drive-in and your people are honking as they're clapping or trying to get you to get out of the way, one of the two. Like the Zoom call's got to be a little bit easier because you could hear laughter, I'm guessing.
Yeah, if I was going to I would put Zoom ahead of drive-in for better shows. I don't like the drive-in shows. I've done a few and I'm just like, I just don't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. It also seemed like a lot of comedians were doing things that like unconventionally, and I can't remember if it was Sam Morril or somebody else that was talking about going to somebody's house and like doing a set on their roof or something like that, and like in their yard or something like that. It was like a problem with the owner of the house was like shitting on him, like basically heckling him. It's like, I don't have a Sam Morril.
I saw that video. That was really weird. I guess because she thought since it was her party, she could do whatever she wanted.
Oh, God.
Well, you talked about the last time you were on trying to like stand in the middle of a park. And are you doing stand up or are you just a raving lunatic? Like it's a really or maybe you got some really interesting religious ideas that I want to hear. It
is very close to you're just yelling out. You do feel like one of those crazy people in the park. Park shows weren't that bad, but then like it always would make me laugh because they always joke around like being a female and stand up seems kind of dangerous. And then during the summer, like there'd be times I'm like just walking in the middle of a park late at night to go do my spot.
You're like,
it seems sketchy.
You're like, yeah, this is not good. We were just talking to so we the last episode that we recorded, we interviewed this dude, the guy that I had mentioned before that he was a finalist on America's Got Talent, and he got COVID so bad that he went into a coma for like 2 months. Like last year.
Osama?
What's that?
Akash? Who is this? Akash or Osama?
No, his name was David Parrish. Paris.
Oh,
Paris.
Yeah, David Paris.
I'm not familiar.
He's like I think it was in season 4. I don't know how many seasons America's Got Talent. So it was a while back, but he was a dancer and he like really good shape and he got COVID. But Kevin asked the question about him going to either the NYU or to the pop-up hospital.
Yeah, so they had a pop-up hospital in Central Park and a university hospital at NYU. And this is for when COVID first started. So it was like beginning of April last year. So those were his choices. And he said that he was like, Central Park is where people go to die at night. So I'm not fucking going to the pop-up hospital at Central Park.
Sarah's walking through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck that.
Oh man, I didn't even know that was happening to somebody.
It was terrible. Like it was, I mean, like, I guess it's just different. I got it. I didn't have any kind of, I had a cough and was a little bit tired a couple of times. That was it.
Yeah,
I took out my whole house. That the worst part was making the rest of the family have to quarantine because they looked at me like that. I might as well shit in all of their rooms. Just took a log right on their fucking bed because they were like, "Fuck you! I can't go outside now." They were just going back to school, regular school, and they were like, "Now we have to stay home." Thanks, Dad. I'm the asshole. I was the one that had COVID. I didn't lick something.
He got zero sympathy.
Zero. Yeah. I got a lot of hateful stares. I got all my own drinks that week. I was like, someone's going to spit in my water.
I know at a certain time, like if you were getting COVID, like say November, I felt like you were being judged harshly of like you're just having sex orgies with people. Like, what are you doing? Like you're just being completely irresponsible. Cause by then we all knew what we needed to do to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah. My old man got it because he was an irresponsible asshole and went and sat at a bar, like a redneck bar out in Western Pennsylvania. And he got it like 3 days before my mom's birthday. And she was insanely furious at him.
Yeah.
She was like completely preventable. And like, she had to miss work for 2 weeks. It was like literally like they stopped quarantining like on Christmas Day. Like she was so angry, couldn't have any of the family over, nothing.
Not
so
good.
Mad.
Yeah.
And it was completely preventable. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like dragging dog shit into your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, and then what you just see the stamp of it, like just kind of going through the house. Like you didn't notice that you were fucking leaving a trail all the way through the home. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
fucking
crazy.
terrible. So are you gonna travel now? Like, are you as you got vaccinated? Joe's vaccinated. You could. I mean, I feel like were you more of a I'm going to stay in New York, kind of do the comic stuff there, or do you tend to travel, or did you travel previously before the pandemic?
I thought we traveled quite a bit during pandemic. We followed all the guidelines, but if you kept your mask on and tested regularly, then I felt like you were pretty safe. In fact, I thought traveling during COVID was the best time to travel. Like
because there's like nobody on the plane. Like you're just like, 3 seats.
Yeah. And if you were brand loyal, like we always flew with Delta, they kept bumping us to first class. And then we went to Ecuador and we flew right through customs so fast. Like usually it takes a long time to get through all that stuff, but it was like no time at all.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. Yeah. So now everyone's getting back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you could fly anywhere pretty much for like nothing. They're like, please just get on the plane. We'll take you anywhere you want to go. You want 15 martinis? Here you go. Our flight.
We'll let you drive for a little bit.
So are you going to go back out and like do more like stand up on the road, or are you just going to stick in New York and do it there for a little bit?
I'll go wherever anyone has me that pays me pretty decently. So I think I'm doing Chicago Zanies in August.
Awesome.
Yeah. But no, I'm only slowly, I was starting to headline before pandemic, and then that kind of put a damper on stuff.
It's like, I finally made it. Pandemic shuts everything down. It's like, motherfucker.
So I was curious as to and maybe it's because the pandemic, or at least some areas, it's winding down the limitations that were previously on you for performing. What made you kind of wind down the Vag podcast? Because I noticed from your Instagram that you kind of like pulled the e-brake on it, and we're going to back away and do other things. Is that what kind of stopped it? What made you make the decision to stop or slow down podcasting?
Well, it was like an actually pretty heavy time commitment, because I also did all the tech stuff. And then all the the amount of work that we went in and made through the Patreon, we just weren't making enough money. And then we had been doing it long enough that I felt like, I mean, I've never heard of a podcast just really pick up steam on the 5th year.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. Fine. This is going to be our year. Finally, people are going to start really getting us. Now, I understand that. Like, that's tough. And I was going to actually ask too, like, how did you and Adrian actually met? Like, how do you guys just meet on the scene, and how did you guys decide that? I know that you talked about that story, the Vag story. Is that how like you guys? But how did you meet before that? Like, what was the origin story of Vag? What's the origin story of your Vag? No, sorry.
Yes. She and I were on the same Montreal showcase, I think in 08 or 09. And I remember her set, and she had some really funny jokes that I really liked. And I think she liked my set. And then we complimented each other afterwards, which is, I don't know. I feel like a lot of girls kind of stick to themselves.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's better now. They tend to be like lone wolves, I think. And then we were just like followed each other on Twitter, and then like we'd tweet at each other. And then we eventually started becoming like on the same shows, and then became fast friends. And then we'd always have long conversations and we're like, we might as well just podcast.
Right. Record it.
Yeah.
Might as well talk. Yeah. I mean, this guy and I have known each other our whole life, so we can just talk for like hours. It's no problem.
Yeah, we still do. She and I talk about that, like that. We are thinking of like just recording it video wise and just putting it up on our YouTube every now and then. So we're not committed to like a schedule or something like that. Yeah, man. Once you get on that schedule and you do Patreon, like the people get really like all of a sudden, if you're 5 minutes late on uploading, they're like, where is it? And you're like, some days you're just like, our schedules are so busy. It's hard to get to this as much as you think it is. And it takes hours to upload and edit and all that stuff. Well, and I don't know what kind of software you're using, but I use like Premiere and Audition and stuff like that. And sometimes what happens is when you actually export it, the video and the audio don't match up. There's something that happened in like the actual transfer of that file. And then you're like, you have to do like all this magic behind the scenes and no one has any fucking clue what that takes and how much time. Like I could be a whole day. I did the
fourth wall, folks. Real exciting stuff going on here. Digging in the dome.
You can suck an entire dump truck full of dicks. How about that?
It's so hard. It is like, you're taking out like little snippets of the conversation. You have to remember where those at. You have to make sure those are, you think they're funny enough to put on. And then you're copywriting. You're just there is so much work that goes into doing a podcast than just like talking and then zipping it up on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, you can't just find producers, you pluck them off a tree. Like, come, please just do this stuff for me, please. Love of God.
Yeah,
because you kind of have to vibe with them too.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
We have one producer that we have for a while. It's really funny, and we didn't even give a shit. But we sent him the episode. Then I sent him an email of being like, "This is what you need in the description." And then in the same second paragraph, I said, "Hey, will you take out the part where Adrian probably wished death on some comic or?" Well, no, it was like, it was so. Yeah,
something bad. It's like, yeah, please, could you do this?
So he just copy and pasted the whole email and put it as synopsis that we're like. So for about a good 5 hours, we had exactly what we didn't want people to know what we taped in that podcast.
In fact, you were highlighting it. You're like, oh, by the way, this is the thing that you really want to listen to, us trashing this comedian. It's like, oh my God, no.
And that's really breaking the fourth wall there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If it could have been a lot worse if we had said something like very controversial or something that we knew that shouldn't be said in public form or that we were just joking about where we knew we were joking. Yeah. But it's just like, oh my God, if we were on such a huge level, this would have been a nightmare, like a PR nightmare.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So do you enjoy like bouncing around to like other people's now that you're not podcasting as much yourself? Do you enjoy like bouncing around to like other podcasts and other comedians' podcasts?
Yeah, I don't mind because like during the day for a lot of comics, there's like there is quite a bit of downtime, so you might as well be out there like promoting and like meeting new people or trying to get a new fan base.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because we had the guys from the Rad Dude podcast on here. Greg Stone and Anthony DeVito. We had them on, and it was utter chaos.
Yeah, I've listened.
It was like, this is not our podcast anymore.
Yeah, well, they just turned it into what they do, which is just like, it's just stream of consciousness, like everywhere, and which is it was great. It went really well. I know where you're going, son of a bitch.
So when you were first on, Chris tried to make a Bob Kelly fat joke, and it completely bombed. You missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. But basically, I said
it was terrible.
I said you named your album "Voluptuous Boy," and at the time, I think that you were on the Riotcast network, and I said, "Is that because of? Did you name it after Bob Kelly? Because he certainly has.
He's a voluptuous boy.
He has large breasts.
Well, it went over
like nothing. I got zero, and it deserved it.
You got nothing from it. So I made fun of him for it thoroughly. But then when we had the Rad Dude cast guys on, Greg sends Bob Kelly the link to the Zoom meeting, and Bob Kelly shows up.
So Bob Kelly pops on. Yeah. So we had Bob on, and
so Bob's on, and so he's asking Chris basically like, you know, what what's the podcast about?
Well, wait a minute. Let's not say that he walked in, said that, and left.
No,
there was a conversation that occurred ahead of that. It's not like he was like, "Hey, what's the podcast about?"
She's perfectly capable of going back and watching the episode herself.
For the record,
no need to defend yourself.
Oh no, yeah, you're attacking me. What do you mean? No need to defend myself. Of course, I'm going to.
So we get to the point where Bob asks Chris what the podcast is about. So Chris obviously he's a fan. This guy Bob's a big deal.
I love Bob.
And so he starts trying to explain, what the podcast is instead of just being like we're two guys that were in a band together and known each other our whole lives that just talk shit on each other. So he starts explaining it, and
too much.
And then all of a sudden,
what is the thing of the podcast? What is the outline, the tagline,
the name of our podcast is Digging in the Dome, and basically it's just we just have because we've got basically a very segmented show, so we've got segments that we do.
Greg just goes,
we do.
He's dead. Bobby was just murdered and he's gone.
Oh, that was it.
I think that was
it.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he hung in the beginning of my diatribe about, well, let me tell you the philosophy behind our program. And then he was like, zap. And look, I've listened to a lot of Bob Kelly stuff on other radio shows. Like I listen to him on Opie and Anthony all the time. I should have known that was coming. I'm an idiot.
Yep.
So Kevin wanted to point out that he fucking got me.
That is his thing. He'll ask you a question, and then while you're explaining yourself, he will just leave the meeting.
Yep.
I'm out. He flat left me. That's all right.
Him and his terrible glasses left.
Oh yeah, he had really. What did you say? He said he looked like the guy from Up.
Yeah.
Shit. So I could have sworn, and I was going back through tweets trying to like find it. I could have sworn that I saw that you were teaching a comedy class or something like that. Are you doing that?
Yeah, it was just a one-off, kind of like I guess a mini master class, but not on such a well-known scale. So there's this company called Speaksies. So they just reached out to me and were like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And it paid pretty decently. So I said, why not? Because,
why not?
I
money.
need to make money. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like talking shop. So I felt it was something that I was comfortable enough doing that I didn't feel like I would be taking people's money and not giving them anything in return.
Right. I'm sure that you'd be an excellent teacher in showing people how to. I mean, I think that some of the hardest things to do is just to even get on stage and have the bravery to do it. But beyond that, like you can't live on that. I made it. Now what? Well, you're gonna have to be funny, and you have to be able to package it the right way so people would enjoy it. But it actually brings up an interesting question that I wanted to ask you too, which was like now people are going to go back into the scene. Like now you just mentioned like everything's reopening, people are going back out. Like, do you think that a lot of people are just really focused on COVID related material? Are they going back to some of their old stuff? Like you were there before, now you're coming back around. Did they just like would hit the unpause button and then start back on the things that they were working on previous to the pandemic, or now has all the material changed because the entire environment has changed?
I think most of us are doing like one or two jokes up front about it, like maybe our experience with it. And then pretty fast into the set, most people are just going into what they were either talking about beforehand or just what like talking points that they have in their life anyway.
Right.
You watch Sam Morril, he's just talking about relationship stuff and men and women. And he might have like a few COVID up front, but I think most comics, and I know for myself, like after going up for now, it's like almost 2 months or a month now going up in the city, I'm realizing like I'm going to start probably deleting some of those COVID jokes.
Oh, really? Because it's like now it's not going to be as relevant. No one's going to. I mean, they'll remember it, but it's just like it's an old hack joke. Like, oh, you remember the Cold War? Yeah, I do. But I don't want to talk about it.
She's not telling her Monica Lewinsky jokes anymore.
Yeah.
Look at this cigar. Guess what it smells like? Waka waka. Yeah, great.
It's also like I went to Florida, I went to Key West, and I went to Tampa, and then I got to see quite a few comics go up in those scenes, and I'm like, after a while, I was like, oh shit, I think some of us have very similar COVID material. So I just realized like it's time to just move on.
That's a good point. Like, because people are going to be circling the same runway on COVID anyway. It's all the same shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had to put a mask on when I went to the store. Isn't that weird? What are they going to really say about it? It's not, it's not that the dude that we talked to the last time, he had a fucked up like situation with COVID. He's got a very unique voice, although he's not going on stage and talking about it. He put it into a book, but like, it's just not, everyone's gonna be talking about the same concept. So it's almost like, what new fresh take you're gonna have on that anyway?
Yeah. Unless it's like a really personal experience. Yeah. And then also some of the stuff, I feel like I can just parlay that into having depression. Because it's the same thing, staying home, watching movies all the time, making
eating bad food. Yeah. Shit
so
food.
I can transition it a little bit where it's not COVID only.
So you were living like a stoner is what you're saying.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Yeah. So you're from Houston, right? Houston, Texas?
Yeah, I grew up in a suburb outside of Houston called Kingwood.
Kingwood. Okay. Right. And that was the high school you went to, right? Like Kingwood High or something. Yeah. I think you said the last time we were on. So how long did you live in Texas and where did you go from there? Did you go back? Do you go right to New York after Texas or did you move around a little bit?
I moved around a little bit. I started comedy in Houston and then 2 years in, I moved out to LA. And then I realized also I just was a huge alcoholic. And then like not.
I didn't even laugh at that. I'm like,
yeah.
Sorry for your
hilarious. And that wasn't working out. So I decided to come back and then just work on stuff. And then I continued to drink for about 10 years in Houston. And then I realized like I was approaching 30 and I was like, if I don't do anything now, no one's coming to Houston to discover you or to get for myself to get better. That I knew that I had to make a move. And I already did LA. So I was like, I moved to New York, which I'm very happy that I made that move. And then I got sober here. So then things picked up and got better.
That's awesome. So how long did you stay in LA? How long were you out there?
A year, right at 9/11 too.
Oh my God. Wow.
About 4 months after I moved there, 9/11 happened. So it was kind of weird at first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same feeling. I know a lot of comics are like, at first we're like, I don't know, it seems insensitive to do all this stuff. And I'm like, it was like that with 9/11, but people really acclimated within a week and we were people go back to things so fast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because I think, and we've talked about it before. But we talk about it all the time is that part of what comedy is taking the sting out of things that are hard to deal with. So 9/11, COVID, those are things that are hard to deal with. When DMX died, I said he went from Rough Rider to Ghost Rider. I was dealing with it in my own way.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, it's nice, right? It's an homage.
That's a sweet little joke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but like it's those kinds of things that like I think that people forget about, and then you can take the piss out of it a bit when you're talking about it on stage. You feel better, it makes it a little bit more tolerable, even with people that have had people that they've lost or have gotten really sick with it. Like I'm sure that they can kind of deal because everyone has that, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
tough.
No, I mean I think I've had stuff happen to me, but if somebody does a joke about it, I'm not like offended by it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and most of the times I find it funny. Like, I'm not like, how dare you?
Well,
clutch your pearls.
Yeah. Well, Kevin and I talk a lot about cancel culture, and that whole thing. And it's there's things that like, you could say like, there's things that are like really bad in history. You could say, we don't like that. We could say today that we don't like that. Back then it was fine. Apparently we don't like it today. And that's that. But doesn't mean that you have to, it's hard to say you can erase the good of whatever somebody did based on how they were reacting in the moment, especially if it was okay at the time.
I mean, it's insane. Here's an example that I think is crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the Demi Lovato Froyo.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That fucking thing. Did you hear about that?
I'm very happy that I have no idea.
She's in a war
about.
with a small Froyo company. Because you know what? A small business that makes frozen yogurt, the enemy.
I guess she has an eating disorder, but she was upset that everything was like a lot of stuff had sugar-free, diet-free stuff. Mm-hmm. And they also cater to like vegan, diabetics, celiacs, but then you don't need to put a sign up. And then she said it was triggering and that they need to do better. And she finds it traumatizing when she goes into this Froyo post where you're just like, not everything revolves around you.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Pinkberry down the street.
Like if that was a lady outside of a Pinkberry, just some random lady, I'd be like, I wouldn't even listen to her. I might laugh at her and then leave. Like she has a platform and she has a bunch of followers. So now all these people are like, oh, that froyo places go fuck themselves. Like that's messed up. That's a small business, isn't it? It's a small business.
It's a small business. And it's like, okay, so I can't drink alcohol. Do I get mad at Chili's when I go eat there and they're serving alcohol to other customers because I have a drinking problem? Like that's not other people's responsibility.
No, excuse me, sir. Could you please take that bottomless margarita off that man's table? I want nothing to do with it.
You're mad enough at yourself for eating at Chili's in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I
love Chili's.
You don't need to be punished further.
Listen, everyone likes a baby back rib, Kevin. Don't lie.
Yeah.
You've eaten your share.
So as things are kind of opening up and getting back to normal, do you think like the digital space and the podcast space and things like that, where comedy is kind of shifted to a little bit during the pandemic, do you think that's going to like completely go away? Because you've seen some comedians have like really incredible success in the digital platforms. But now that things are going back to a more normal, schedule, a more normal scenario, do you think that that's going to kind of drift off and maybe die out a little bit? Or do you think that that is going to be sustainable?
I think it'll be sustainable for sure. I also feel like more things are actually going to move digital anyway. I just feel like, and this is what most comics feel like we've been talking about, is like, hey, maybe instead of doing spots at 1 a.m. for 6 people, it might be better to say no to some of these spots and work on doing more digital content from the comfort of our own home and reaching a broader audience, because you're just not going to get the numbers that you're going to get. Like, I'm not going to reach people liking me by doing late night spots. I mean, it's better for your stand-up, but sometimes I think it's quality over quantity of spots and your intention of what you put into it.
And maybe it's a mixture of both. Maybe it's not like one or the other, but it's both, right? Like I'll still go on because there's value to being in a room, obviously standing on stage and being in the environment and doing it. But there's also value in what you're doing now, because like you said, you'll get, depending on what kind of a platform you're on and what kind of a podcast you're on, or if you're doing your podcast yourself, you're reaching a lot of people and it's easy to reach them. It's not like contained in a room. I can just blast it out there and then promote it, and then hopefully people will listen to it and like it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll tell a joke on TikTok sometimes, and it'll get like, I've had a few that hit the million or over several 100,000. And you're like, there's no way I would have gotten this much exposure just by hitting the pavement in the club scene. So, you do a set and people don't remember you. They're just like, I had a really great time, but they don't remember the comic.
Right. Because they were there like, oh, I can't remember who I saw or whatever.
They're probably drunk.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Oh, you see some of the people in those comedy clubs. They are, some of those are really, really hammered. But this would be a really good time, since you mentioned it, to disclose to Kevin something that happened yesterday that I think that he may have missed. My daughter, who's 13 and going to be 14 in June, decided to convince me. She worked hard. She's not like my younger daughter is the crazy one that like, she's going to be a problem, like a fucking problem. This one is the responsible, good one, but she was really selling me on the idea of putting together a TikTok account. So we have a TikTok account.
Oh no.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see this. Good Lord.
She said she did a really good job selling me. She put in work like 25 minutes and I was like, fine. All right, I'll do it.
You like a good presentation in your work life.
Exactly. My
PowerPoint.
Like, you know what? Yeah. She was like, if you can see here, your demographics in the 18 to 25 mark will go up. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I put up just like a small clip and it's getting some likes. That's pretty cool. Not millions of likes like Sarah here, but yeah,
you get a few. And then you'll have one every now and then that like just hits better. But I have to say the algorithm on TikTok's a lot more democratic than the Instagram algorithm.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
There's
that.
snobs on Instagram, where TikTok, they do it, introduce you to a small bubble. And if you do really well there, they keep putting you up into bigger bubbles. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
So I was going to ask you about like because obviously now you're getting back on stage and in a club. There was different when you're like outside and you're doing the drive-through show or drive-in, I'd say drive-through, like you're like ordering a burger.
Yeah.
Some fries, please. Let me tell
That'd
you
be
something.
great. Start
Let me
telling
tell you
jokes to
she
the
just drops
people at McDonald's.
Say, I got 3 avocados at home. You're like, oh, this might take a while. Let's tell the joke. But like, is that like, now you're going back on the stage. Is there like a nervousness to you, like going back on there and doing it again now in front of people, like physically in front of people? Or is it just like, this is old hat, riding a bike?
It's I guess like your first kind of setback. It is a little bit, but it is kind of like riding an old bike. And then also I felt like I had gone up pretty consistently during pandemic that it wasn't like a lot of downtime that I felt nervous about. Now,
the follow-up question to that is, because obviously you're going out and you're seeing other people. And from what I understand in the New York comedy scene and from comics that I've talked to, they like seeing other people eat shit on stage because it's hilarious. So have you gone back up and seen somebody really take it in the chops because they had been off stage for a while and start flop sweating all over the place?
I haven't seen it. I guess because mainly I go and do my spot. I show up right before I do my spot and then I leave.
Could you go into another spot? Is that why? Because you have to do the next one? Yeah.
Yes. Or that I'm just trying to be like not hanging out with a lot of people.
It's like, I don't need any COVID. You stay away from me.
Yeah. Or just being like indoors for long periods of time. But I generally feel like everyone's doing pretty well. I haven't really seen anyone being like, oh God, they shouldn't have taken that much time off.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's gotta be nerve-wracking for a comedian though.
Yeah. But it's also, sometimes you need to take time off and that it's kind of fun to come back to it.
Right. Yeah. You missed it a little bit. And now you feel like you can get on there and have energy around it. What are you saying?
I can imagine that the reaction's got to be pretty positive from people currently, because I doubt there's a lot of people that have been stuck inside for months now that are just can't wait to get out and heckle somebody at the club.
Maybe that's someone's passion, Kevin. You don't know. They've been just clamoring to heckle somebody. They're making fun of people in their kitchen.
Just figured they're excited to get out and see something.
I think mostly positive. Yes. I would hope that people were like that. You know, that
at least for a while, at least for like the first month or so.
Oh, they'll go back.
They'll go back.
Yeah, they'll go back to being shit bags.
Oh, definitely. I hate people.
So yes,
me too.
That was actually one of the funny things that like when my daughter was convincing me to start a TikTok for this podcast, she said, "Look at my bio. It just says I hate everyone." I'm like, I love you so much. I'm like, oh, you're
That's
so good.
You.
Yeah, I was like, so happy.
Well, she's also 13 going on 14, so she's predisposed to hating everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. She says ill a lot. She said ill too. She said, she told me yesterday, she's like, I got into class early. And I was like, oh, I got into class early. Ew. And the teacher was like, ew. She's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. Like, it's just like, it's just going to class.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, exactly. So you just had a birthday right on Saturday. Was it Saturday?
Yeah, I did.
So I got to ask, did Joe do a good job getting you a birthday gift?
He always does great, but he also treats me nice throughout the year. So we were busy, and also like, I feel like he always gets me anything that I want that it's good.
Yeah, well, Joe's
I just got gift certificates, and then that's all I want. That's all I like.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Give me something to a store that I like. I will choose the thing that I like. Because if you pick out a shirt for me, I'm going to punch you in your face.
But you know what? He's really good. For like birthdays and Christmas, he'll buy me shoes that I didn't even know I wanted.
Oh, wow. That's a man that knows his woman right there.
I know. He knows what shoes I like.
That's impressive.
That's awesome. I don't know.
It is impressive.
I would never try to buy shoes for Colleen. She would kill me.
She would beat you with them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, she's not.
I wouldn't buy shoes for Joe.
No. I can't even imagine what kind of like. I've listened to a lot of Joe's stuff. Tuesdays with Stories with Mark Norman. Go check that out. Great podcast, everybody. And obviously, I've seen his comedy, but I don't know that I've ever really paid attention to his shoe style. Is he a sneaker guy?
1080s. New Balance 1080s.
New Balance 1080s. Okay. All right.
That's all he wears.
That's it. Well,
are those the white ones that my dad cuts the grass in? Are those New Balances? Oh, okay.
They have like the swoopy back thing that looks like you slide your foot in there.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
So is it it's a sneaker though, right?
It's like a running shoe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is he a runner?
Yeah, we were doing a lot of running during pandemic, and then I also got plantar fasciitis.
Oh, fun times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So since we last talked, Kevin decided to restart his skateboarding career.
It didn't go well.
He went on a one-wheel skateboard, and his one leg, basically his legs made a perfect right angle, like that.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. Torn hip labrum, torn groin, torn hamstring.
Yeah.
Sprained knee. Oh yeah. Fun times.
Getting old, bitch.
Yeah. Getting old sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah. That's.
I'd ask you how old you turned on Saturday, but that's a non-starter right there.
That's all right. So I'm 43 now.
43.
Cool. You're right in our range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
It's awesome. It's not that bad.
No, what 43?
No, it's not bad.
No, dude, look. Plus, science is getting better. You can like live longer. Everything's okay. Like you can get like, you know, it's not like the 1800s where she would have already been dead for 10 years. She was 43.
Yeah.
Well, and she's
died at childbirth.
Exactly.
And you don't have any kids either, so you're not dead inside yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. They do drain you like vampires, little vampires. I have one interrupt here. Could you open the garage? No, I'm in the middle of doing something. This is why we have to lock the door. Like we literally lock the door. I have a sign. I literally installed a sign outside. It's a big red sign that says recording so that no one would come in here. They're like, fuck that. I'm coming right on in.
They don't care.
He's locked the door. They've broken in with equipment, like thieves, like little fucking tools, and opened the door.
Well, that's because your wife taught him how to do it.
Yes, my wife did teach me how to do it.
Saboteur.
Little velociraptors.
100%.
Monsters.
That's a fantastic explanation.
100% true too. So you got the Royersford thing coming up. Like I was going to say, like we have this is our hood. So we're going to bring a whole bunch of people.
You're in our neck of the woods now.
We talked to a whole bunch of people and said, let's go. We're gonna have a family trip with all the Digging of the Dome fans and people that we can just drag along. So you're gonna have a nice contingency of us.
You'll have a nice drunk bus show up at your show outside. It's gonna be great.
It's just gonna be great. Thanks a lot for bringing these fucking. The heckling guy was like, yes, finally, my time to shine.
Well, I'm co-headlining with Adrian, so you get both of us that night.
Yes, it's fantastic. Yeah, I was going to say, how's she doing? Like now, so she's obviously still out there, and she's doing the same thing, like going out there and hitting the clubs.
Yeah, she's getting her second vax this week, and so she'll be hitting the club soon. And then she and I are still working on pitching a TV show, so we put most of our vag energy into that.
Yes, that's right.
So I see her on a regular basis.
So you guys are
that statement would be very different if you didn't have a podcast called Vag.
Yes,
putting all our vag energy into this.
Yeah, it's like it's like some kind of a Voltron thing. They come together and like bam, giant triangle, upside down triangle.
It's like the Care Bears.
Exactly. Yes. It's not coming out of the chest; it's coming out of the crotch. I love that.
Yes.
Oh my God. So. Hey, listen, we were really happy to have you on. I know it's been, you've got something at 7:30, right? I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh yeah. I have another show. I've done nothing but like computer stuff. It's like pandemic right now for me.
So have you been sitting in that chair? Like you just sit in that chair, you have to get up and stretch. That's what I have to do like in this stupid office because I'm here all day.
Oh yeah. Well, now I have this.
Oh, is that for your feet?
That's for my feet.
Yeah. You rub it on your feet and then yes, it's that.
For my plantar.
Your plantar fasciitis. So is that like something that's going to take a while to get healed? Like, when are you going to be able to run again?
Oh, the sled dogs.
It's been since October. So it's been a huge pain in my ass for about 6 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, that's the one thing. It's the worst. Like but this hip thing, like for me, it's like, it happened in June of last year and I'm still dealing with it. Yeah. Sucks ass. So I feel you.
Yeah, not
I feel your pain, literally and figuratively.
Thank you.
Yes, sucks. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't know if you have more time, but I was going to say like if not, we could wrap up and give you some time because I know that you have to get ready for your 7:30. I didn't want to be respectful. I didn't know.
Yeah, totally. I got I'll just go eat dinner and then I'll.
No, we can still talk if you want to. I just didn't know if you still had more time. I didn't want to like cut.
Oh no, we can still talk for like 10 more minutes. That's totally fine.
Yay! All right, cool.
An hour to like chill out and then go back in.
All right, I was really more. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is going terrible. This is fantastic. This has been fantastic. Like I just want to make sure that I'm not.
I'm over here like.
It's like, no, Kevin, she can see you, Kevin. You're doing that. He's like, Sarah's our favorite guest. Kevin's like, no, what about Greg? I'm like, fuck Greg Stone. he brought that saboteur Bobby Kelly in to ruin my life.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Well, Greg got his. Did you see his Instagram? Do you follow Greg at all?
I do.
his Instagram story was friggin' hilarious yesterday, where he thought he was being a hero for like directing traffic because he thought there was a downed power line in his street, and it turned out to just be like a cable wire that was down.
Just hanging.
Right.
And he like some old guy just came over and just pulled it out of the middle of the street, made him look like a big dumb idiot.
Oh no, poor Greg. Greg was like, oh, never mind.
He thought he was the hero.
Well, he builds stories in his head, so it makes sense.
Yes.
So I had to ask you a question. This is the other one that I wanted to ask you. I'm glad that you could still talk for a minute. So you're Sarah Tollemache. You're married to Joe List. So why are you not Sarah List?
Well, I got asked this last night, and it is like, here's the thing. I tried it. I was really busy at the time when I had to do all this, and I didn't have time to go to a government building to do it. And then I saw this thing online that I sent in all my government documents in one envelope to the Social Security Administration. So I did all of that, filled out the piece of paper, and then mailed it off, and then never saw anything from them ever again. And then I just lost all my government documents.
Oh man, you got scammed. They're like, yes, send package to 125 West 110th Street, Suite 115. You're like, some Russian guys, Sarah List.
Yeah. It felt like, that scam when they're like, mail in all your gold and we'll send you cash for it. You're like, it just sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
But I thought it was legit. And then, so I was like, shit. So then the first place that you have to go is actually Social Security Administration to get your Social Security card. So when I showed up there, I didn't have, I don't have any of my documents. I was coming in kind of like I was off the grid. That's what I was basically. And then the guy found my paperwork, and then,
oh, wow.
And no, it's crazy. So I got all my passport, I think gifts or birth certificate, driver's license, and Social Security card. And then at that moment, I was like, with this being such over just changing my name, I was like, I'm going to go back to my original name. And then it became a bigger problem because when I got all my stuff back, I reported my passport missing, and then cut to eight months later, I go to Paris. And I was like, I had my physical copy of my passport, but because I said it was missing, it's technically missing. So I was detained.
Oh, no. Interpol
airport.
Came and got you.
It's like me and some Nigerian woman meeting her husband for the first time. Detained.
No.
And my phone, Joe managed to go through, and they were going to send me back to New York right away. But I said, can I go to the American Embassy? And I guess those were the magic words. And they let me go to the American Embassy and get a passport. But because how awful that was, I was like, and then somebody was like, you can just tell people that you are Sarah List. It's only when I fill out papers that I have to be Tollemache. So I just decided you can call me List, but I'll go by Tollemache on my documents.
So the most important thing is, because this is how everyone will know you, is when you're going on stage. Do they still say Sarah Tollemache, or do they say?
It still says Sarah Tollemache. I can't.
Well, it's because you should, like, that's who people know you as. So it's Sarah List. Who's that?
Well, I also think my last name's unusual that it stands out, so I just kept it, even though most people don't know how to pronounce it or spell it. Even though,
if I was making a mistake the whole time, like it was like Tollemache, and I was even saying Tollemache the whole time, I'd be like,
he's like, Sarah Toblerone is on there.
You're like, oh no, that's fine, whatever. You're
fair. That's why when people get so offended, their names are. I'm like, I'm so used to it, and I understand that it's annoying that I'm just like, I'm not out there to, and it puts me in a position that I have to correct you, which makes me feel like I'm already starting in the negative. So I'm just like, they'll figure it out eventually. As long as you know my first name. You'll get it.
I actually work with a guy, and he's like a pretty high level guy in the company that I work for. And he makes mistakes on people's names all the time. And I've talked to him like, hey, it's this. I corrected him. Like, I pulled not in public. I'm like, hey, do you know that it's Cesare? It's not Cesare. It's Cicere. That's his name, is Cicere.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. And then literally 5 seconds later, he's like, Joe Cesare. And he's like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, I said, but the worst part is I'm going to him like, hey, good news. I told him how to pronounce your name. So the next time he's going to get it right on. And he's like, no.
Guy starts weeping. He just runs out of
the room. What the hell? Why would you tell me he fixed it when he didn't? I'm the asshole.
Yeah. It's just most names are really hard.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We have a neighbor down the street. Actually, is where Colleen's in the Polka Cabana right now. My wife is a fan of the marijuana, so she's down there celebrating this lovely holiday. And she like Polk, Poelck. When I first there's a neighbor, I'm like, how the fuck am I going to pronounce this? This is going to be a disaster. I'm like, Poelck.
There's a lot of vowels in here.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Consonants.
And dude, if you got like 2 consonants in a row on the front, I'm out. Like you have to I'm going to ask you how to pronounce it. I'm not going to risk it.
Oh God. No, sometimes you're just like, there's a guy's name that I've been constantly mispronouncing, but I'm like, I've seen it plenty of times, but then when it goes back into my brain, I just don't know. How it's supposed to come out.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like there's a blockade there somehow, and you just get it wrong every time.
Well, you know whose name I think I always fuck up is Brett Favre.
What the hell's Brett Favre doing here?
What's his name?
Brett Favre.
It's Favre. Even though the V and the R, it's like the weird invert. It should have been.
I feel like he's just being an asshole.
Other way. Yeah.
Like it's really Favre, but he's just being a dick.
He's like, no, it's Favre.
Like, no, it's not.
It's like, wait, every English person, I went to like a phoneticist and he told me, is that a real thing? A phoneticist, they tell you how to phonetically spell words? Yeah, I'm sure that it is. And he said, Favre. That's what I'm calling you. I don't care what your parents said.
Oh, how about Irish names? Like Siobhan is Siobhan. You know what I mean? Like it's spelled Siobahn and you're like, dude, that is not what we learned.
Yeah, you know what? It's the final boss in a spelling bee contest. It's like spell Siobhan in Irish. Fuck you. I don't know. SH.
Famous.
Yes.
Yeah. Famous.
Yeah.
Seaman.
Yeah.
Seamus.
Seamus. SEA. There's no H in there. Where's the H? Is the EA now an H sound? What? I'm lost.
It's so confusing. Go to Wales. They use the same alphabet that we use, and you're thinking that they're English, but the way when you try to spell it or pronounce it in English, it's not even close to what it is in Welsh. It's so wild.
Yeah, it's the worst. Why can't we just, we figured out everything else. We've got 5G, people going into fucking space soon. Kevin's trying to go into space.
I'm trying to get the fuck out of here.
I'm trying to get Kevin into space. That would be great. But like, we can't figure out how to have like some kind of a universal, like everybody can speak the same thing or at least hear everybody. And I don't want to have
emojis.
We can live through emojis. Through emojis. It's like positive.
Revert back to hieroglyphics.
There we go. Why not? Did you see? So there's another good question for you. So there is all this footage that's just popping up everywhere. And there's one recently that came out of alien, UFOs, and say alien. UFOs, I think they changed the name to UPAs or something like that.
Yeah, because it's
what is it like?
It's like it's insulting to aliens.
Yeah, exactly. They have to make sure not to, cancel space travel.
Yeah.
Unidentified is a racial slur, so you can't do UFO.
You might as well be calling them the N-word. Like, wait, I said unidentified. I said unidentified. It has nothing to do with their color. Why are you doing this to me? Please don't cancel me. I love God. But it's whatever it is. They're like, did you see the video of that? The upside down pyramid thing that was floating in the sky? What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
Are aliens coming?
They keep saying that they exist, but I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I just saw the Pentagon footage, and maybe it's like, look, the government, you can't really trust them 100%, obviously, but an upside down pyramid just floating in the sky. I've never seen a plane shaped like an upside down pyramid. Last I checked.
Yeah, there's some like planes. You don't know how doctored footage and all that stuff, like
the Pentagon
fakes, and who knows?
The Pentagon confirmed it.
Well, yeah, because the government can totally be trusted.
That's what I just said. That's why it could be bullshit. I don't know. How the fuck am I supposed to know? I'm just saying that's weird. Wait, so do you not believe in that thing? You're like, no.
I mean, it's not like with the universe being so infinite that maybe, but I also feel like the probability of creating a same permutation of life, it was so hard to get it right in the first place and have like with evolution and success that I just find it to be impossible to know that is out there like that. If it is, maybe in a basic form or something.
Well, they talk about like cells they find, maybe they like talk about what we saw, like this particular living type organism. Then they find some stuff on Mars recently or in a couple places. So it would follow. And I was just talking to somebody about this, about the idea that it would be very difficult to say there's a, unknown amount of universes out there. Like, we have no clue, like no idea.
Yeah.
So it'd be statistically impossible for there not to be life to exist somewhere else. Statistically impossible. It has to. Like with that much improbability, statistically speaking, unless you have more variables that you can add to that equation and say that's only this many, then you can actually come up with a formula. But outside of that, you have to say statistically impossible to say definitively that there's not life out there. More than likely there is some kind of life, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, it would be insane to deny that there isn't.
Yes.
Life out there.
I mean, they find new shit in the ocean every day.
Oh,
and that's just
terrifying
shit in the ocean every day.
Ocean shit's scary as fuck. All that deep shit, like in the real dark, I don't know.
But do you think it's I don't think it's intelligent life.
What you mean in the ocean or in down here?
In the vast in the whole
universe?
Space.
I don't know. I don't.
It's barely intelligent life here.
Yeah.
So I would agree that it's probably wouldn't be considered intelligent life. The fact of if there being some crazy space traveling aliens that have far beyond exceeded our technology is probably pretty rare. But we grew up when X-Files was on, right? So
yeah,
like everybody was captivated by X-Files when we were growing up. So like that was that your kind of everybody show? Wants to believe, right?
Do you like that kind of show or no? Is that
I only watched it every now and then, but I felt like when it was on, I was more into being at the bars.
Yeah, right on. Oh, this is a good question. So we're going to start our second annual Cinco de Mayo draft, which is a look at the years of 2000 to 2005, and we're going to create a bracket with different regions, like a March Madness thing. I know, real unique idea. I think pretty much every podcast on the planet does this, but we came up with it first, at least in my mind. So in this particular case, you've got music, movies, TV shows, and fads, and it's the worst of that particular time period, 2000 to 2005.
So we started this last year because there was no March Madness. And then we started it in May because of Cinco de Mayo. So we called it Stinko de Mayo because we were like lamenting the fact that there was no sports on at the time because, we were deep into the COVID madness at that point.
It was.
So we were like, let's do a bracket of, we did the 90s.
Like the entire 90s.
So we were doing 2000 to 2005.
And I believe, so we had a drafting ceremony where we had like a selection Sunday type thing. He picked people in music. I picked people in music, fads, etc. And I believe that my pick, chairman of the board, starring Carrot Top, the movie with Carrot Top in it, won. Who did Carrot Top beat?
It was a TV show. I don't remember which one it was.
It was Cop Rock, was it?
No, it was the Talking Baby one. With Scott Baio, or not Scott Baio. Tony Danza was the voice of the baby.
Oh, was it Look Who's Talking or something?
No, it was a TV show that was based off of Look Who's Talking.
So that was the finals of that, but we're going to do 2000 to 2005. But we just recently had a conversation about the worst TV theme shows. TV. I can never say this. Songs for theme shows.
Theme songs.
There you go.
Show theme songs.
Let your brain catch up with your mouth, you fire hydrant.
Shut up. Yeah, he's right though. So the worst one. So could you think what's like one of the worst ones that you've ever heard, or the ones that you hate, like the theme shows that you're like, oh.
Actually, I don't know. Like I think I like most TV theme songs. I can't even think of TV shows from 2000 to 2005.
Well, this particular draft was the entirety of the entire. We spanned the entire. This was just a regular draft, and we were just picking the worst theme songs of TV shows ever.
I think if I listen to MASH for some reason, it makes me go into a depression. I just never watched that show. And then I remember it coming on when I was a kid and remember being like, I was like, not interested. Like I liked watching Three's Company and Good Times and the Jeffersons, but watching MASH, I was like, how is this a sitcom? It was just depressing to me.
So you brought up Three's Company. Were you familiar with the spinoff called The Ropers?
Yes.
That was one of the worst ones that
we picked out that as a wah 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 wah.
Oh yeah.
Wah, wah. Oh God. He's dancing around with the plunger like
We talked about the Silver Spoon spinoff.
What was it called?
It was
something about
it was like
Jason Bateman one.
Make Your Move or something like that. Or
that is fucking terrible. It's a checker. The beginning is a checkerboard, and you just see young Jason Bateman picking up the phone, being devilish.
Yeah, it's horrible too. Ooh. All that stuff is bad.
How long did that last? Did you check?
Less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. I figured as much.
I didn't know I knew he was on that show, Hogan's Family, but I
loved that show when I was growing up.
Great.
I was obsessed with Hogan's Family.
Justine Bateman on there too? Were they both?
She was in Family Ties.
Yeah, she was in Family Ties. Yeah.
Oh, right.
She was really funny in Family Ties. I always thought Michael J. Fox got a lot of the accolades, but she's actually really gifted comedically as well.
Really funny. Well, how do you feel about this? Sorry, Tina Yothers, comment.
Tina Yothers, was she in Family Ties too?
She was in it too.
Yeah.
She was the blonde one, the little blonde one in Family Ties. And Michael Gross.
She's a little too serious. Yeah. I like the parents.
Yeah, I think Tina Yothers.
I was obsessed with Meredith Baxter Burney had all these great
like the Hallmark Lifetime movies.
Oh,
where she was always getting beat.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, beaten or eating disorders.
Yes,
I used to love them.
Yes, it's I deserved it, or I ran into the door. Part 2.
She was in tons of those.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, I mean, dude, I guarantee she was making bank. It's like what's that dude from the Pulp Fiction series, Michael Madsen? Michael Madsen makes a tremendous amount of money on the worst movie. He just does work to get paid. He's just like, I don't give a shit. Give me the script. I'll do it. Pay me.
Well, he has 14 kids or something crazy like.
Yeah, he's got a lot of kids. Yeah. Many, many kids.
Well, speaking of which, so you just released Voluptuous Boy on YouTube. Are you planning on recording any other sets to put out there? Like, do you think you're thinking about doing a new album
another hour or something,
or
like
another YouTube special, or Netflix calling it?
No, I don't know if they'll ever come calling, but I don't care to depend on I thought it was actually quite empowering to put my own little thing up on YouTube on my own channel. So it has actually inspired me. I would like to shoot something probably a half hour at the end of the year.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And, you'd be out there and doing it. And sure, I think that you said the last time we talked too, that one of the things that was kind of a benefit to the pandemic is that it really allowed you to sit down and really concentrate and write, just do it religiously and be able to do some unique things and do kind of spread. Because when you're doing stand up, obviously you're doing it all the time, but to be able to not be able to do that and be able to express yourself in different ways and find different medium and different, paths to be able to work on your art is pretty cool. I'm sure that helped.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I like to do more of that. So I'm going to do more videos and short films and put out more content on my YouTube.
Right. Didn't you also have a short film, or did you sponsor the short film festival, or was it?
No, I have one. I do it. Yeah. I still do it monthly. We are going to still do it from our apartment, but I think once things open up a little bit more, we're going to look for a venue and then stream it online.
That's awesome. So what is the, do you want to talk about that a little bit? What do you do?
Sure. Well, we just invite friends or people that we're aware of that we know make shorts on a regular basis. And then we create a theme each month, and then all the proceeds of all the donations, we choose a charity each month. So this month's theme is Spring Awakening, and the show's on April 28th on Wednesday at 9 p.m. and we'll be on Twitch and then our YouTube channel.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Very cool.
So I'm sure that you got a lot of submissions and stuff like that. So
not really. And then
not really?
Well, I think we usually just reach out to friends or people that we know. And sometimes I think a lot of them are it's too much to, work on a project. They'd rather just do stand up. So it's whoever wants to do it, really. But we are open. If anybody is listening wants to submit or is interested, let us know. And then our DM us at Home Film Fest on Instagram, and I'll reply to it. And
at Home Film Fest at Instagram. That's great. Yeah. Well, Kevin and I have a gut busting docking video that we want to share with you, where I take my penis and put it into his foreskin.
Well, that's Spring Awakening.
Good Christ. On that note.
Yes, on that note. Yes, I guess that we can now wrap up since we went over time.
Sure.
So no,
now that she doesn't want to eat her dinner or anything
thank
ever
you very
again.
much. He's like, hey, Joe, what's for dinner? Kielbasa. Put it back.
Yeah.
Can we order something else? A pizza, maybe. Something that's not going to remind me of that. Okay, so folks, number one, Sarah Tollemache, you're fantastic, and we love having you on. You're an awesome guest. Thank you so much. Sarah's got Voluptuous Boy on all streaming services. You can get it. Just go listen to it. But more importantly, she just released it on YouTube. Go check that out. She's got a lot of real positive thumbs up, and especially one from us, certainly on there. And she's going to be headlining Soul Joel's Comedy Club right down the street on May 14th in Royersford, Pennsylvania. So please go and see Sarah Tollemache. And At Home movie?
At Home Film Fest.
At Home Film Fest.
Follow us on Instagram if you're interested.
And follow Sarah on Instagram, damn it. So thank you so much again. We'll definitely have you on soon because you're a wonderful guest. Thank you.
Yeah, always. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you.
Thanks so much.
Right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye. And good night. Bang!